Okay, so let's start. Today we are going to discuss our module 3. Okay. So topics to be covered under this is deformation under axial loads, residue stresses, concentration of stresses, stress due to temperature, stepped rod members in series and parallel, and statically indeterminate problems. Okay. तो ये जो टॉपिक्स हैं इनको अपन अलग अलग हेडिंग्स में नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे. आई विल बी टेकिंग सम डिफॉर्मेशन प्रॉब्लम्स अंडर एक्सियल लोड्स और उसी में ही जैसे कि स्टेप्ड रॉड मेंबर है उसको समझ लेंगे, स्टैटिकली इंडिटरमिनेट प्रॉब्लम्स क्या होती हैं उनको समझ लेंगे. लाइकवाइज वी विल गो अहेड. Let's start with elastic deformation of an axial loaded members. What does that mean? Axial load is basically either in tension and or in compression. So basically I have shown here one rod is there, okay, that is varying in its depth, like this, and this is the L length. And this is the load applied P1 here and P2 here. Now this is my axial load. Under this load, I want to calculate the deformation will happen, whatever the deformation will happen due to these axial loads, that is known as deformation under axially loaded. Now, why I'm calling elastic deformation? Because right now we are only considering elastic deformation, as we have discussed earlier in our classes that following Hooke's law we will be only considered the elastic deformation. For that, in this near about window I have shown what is sigma. Sigma will be equals to Px upon Ax. Now what does that Px and Ax is denoting us? Px is actually showing us that this is the load applied at cross section X. Now whatever the diagram we have like this, we have applied some loading here P2 and P1. And this is one section we have cut at X distance. This is my section. Okay, I have cut a section here at a distance X meter apart. Okay, so at this distance, whatever is my area of cross section, that will be known as Ax, and whatever be the load or stress at this section will be denoted as sigma x, or if we are talking in terms of P, there will be Px, like this. Is it okay with everyone? Now we are applying some proportional limit, like we are applying Hooke's law that sigma is equals to E into strain. E is modulus of elasticity at that point. Now we have substituted every value under this. This is my strain, that is delta deflection. Whatever the deflection will occur here, like suppose this is deformed like this, somewhat delta L distance. So my strain will be delta L upon delta X with respect to dx length. So my delta deflection will become Px dx upon Ax into Ex. Now based on this formula, we will see actual examples. So like we are starting with first prismatic bar, which is subjected to gradually applied loads. Now consider this bar, this is fixed from one end, and what we have done here, that we have applied a load P here. When we have applied a load P here, this total length of this element was L. Now there are some deformations which is delta L. Okay, Now we are interested in calculating this deformation. This deformation is known as delta L. Now considering only elastic deformations. Now when I'm saying considering only elastic deformation, it means that we are only considering Hooke's law. We are considering Hooke's law. That means stress is directly proportional to strain. Now my deformation is delta is equals to P into L upon AE. This we will be deriving. Okay, that is actually we are not deriving this because this has been derived earlier also. We will derive in some another equations like in conical bar and in tapering section and all. Okay, this we know from the stress strain diagram that the stress is equals to P by A and strain is equals to delta L upon L. That is my strain. That is change in length. That is delta L we are calling and total length L. So this is my strain. And now we know that from Hooke's law that sigma is equals to strain into E. E is modulus of elasticity. We will put all these values into this to get this delta is equal to PL upon A. So this is the actually formula you have derived for a prismatic bar whose cross section is same and you have applied a P load here. L is the length and A is the cross section and E is the modulus of elasticity. Now here I have showed you a deflection diagram along length. So what is happening here is that delta is equals to P into L upon AE. So we can write delta is equals to P upon A into E by L. So this term AE upon L, let's denote it by K. Now K is known as axial stiffness. Okay, that is AE by L. Now this is a constant term because area is not changing here, modulus of elasticity is not changing here, length is not changing here. So we are supposing axial stiffness to be constant. So we can say that my delta is okay, my delta is varying up. Now suppose we are taking here delta is equals to P into L upon AE. Now suppose our axial rigidity is not changing AE, so delta is directly proportional to L. We can say from this equation that my deflections are directly proportional to length. Now let us suppose we are taking a section. Let's go on back page. Now we go on back page. Let us suppose we are taking a section here. So my delta is equals to, we are showing here my delta is equals to my delta is equals to this is equals to L, deformation is equals to P into X upon AX into E, and this term, let's suppose this A and E is not changing. AX and E is, let's suppose it's constant for elastic deformation. So we can say that my delta is directly proportional to X. Now X is varying as linearly because its power is 1. Okay, so let's suppose delta at A. To find delta at A, I have to put X is equals to 0. So delta at A is equals to 0. Now to find delta at B, I have to put X is equals to L. So delta B becomes P into L upon A. This is varying linearly like this. Okay, is it clear to everyone? Now we are looking at stress diagram along the length. This is only stress diagram. So my stress is not changing. P is constant at every point. A is constant at every point. So my stress is constant at every point. So my stress is constant at each and every location, varying from x is equals to 0 to x is equals to L. So this is my axial load. Axial load which was applied in the form of tension. The axial load was applied as tension. So positive is denoting for tension. Suppose if we have applied a compression force like this, then my axial stress diagram would have become like sigma is equals to P by A, sigma is equal to sigma at A, sigma at B is equals to P by A, and this is minus. Minus is for compression. Next, let's see deflection of stepped bar under axial load. Now what we are doing here, we are changing the cross section of our bars at each and every location. Suppose at L1 distance, my cross section is same. At L2 distance, this is the length L2 and this is the length L1 and this is L3, and load P is applied at both the ends. Now I want to calculate deflection of this bar. Now I want to calculate the deflection. What is my delta deformation under this condition? To study and to know this, we must know first of all about, let's discuss about first of all what is our principle of superposition. So to calculate the deflection of such arrangement, we must know what is principle of superposition. Why we want to understand principle of superposition? Because what we are going to do here is that we are going to calculate my deflection all different. For this portion, let's suppose I'm calling this as my 1, material 1, this is my 2, this is my third element whose area is denoted by A3, material is E3, A2, and material is E3, E2, sorry, and this is A1 and E1. Okay, but here in this question, in this problem, I have taken all modulus of elasticities same. What does that mean? If modulus of elasticity is same, that means that material is constant. We are not changing material here. Okay, we have applied the P load on both the ends. We have only changed the cross section here. A1, A2 and A3. We have taken separate A1, A2, A3. Okay. So my total deflection delta is equals to will be delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. I am assuming that in my first element, whatever the deflection will take place, that is going to be denoted as delta 1. I am assuming that whatever the deflection is in my second element, I am taking it as delta 2. Whatever the deflection in my third element, I am taking as delta 3. Now, I am adding the effect of all three these deformations. So my total deformation will be equal to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. Now, to apply such condition, delta 1 plus delta 2, delta 3, what I have done, I have used the principle of superposition. Without using the principle of superposition, I wouldn't have added delta 1, delta 2 plus delta 3 like that. Delta 1 is the result of a deformation in this first element. That means it's a result of first block. Then delta 2 is result of second block. And delta 3 is result of third block. So now let's go back and see what is principle of superposition. A principle of superposition states that result of analysis such as deflection, forces, stresses can be added linearly. Can be added linearly means that we can add 1 plus 2 plus 3 like that if material follows elasticity or Hooke's law. Means principle of superposition is only valid if your Hooke's law is applied. Is that understood? Now I am assuming here that my deflections are linear. They are not behaving non-linearly. So I can add them as it is linearly 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay. So I have applied here total deformation delta is equals to delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. Now I have calculated the force in my element 1 like this. I am assuming this is my element 1. So this is my force P and this is my force P. This is my force P in element 2 and this is force P and this is my element 3. This is force P and this is force P. If I want to write equation of deformation for delta for my material 1 for my element 1, so I would have written like this. Let's suppose we do it here for tapered section. Okay. So in our first year classes, engineering mechanics, we have seen one concept of free body diagram. Now we are applying same free body diagram concept here also. What I am doing, I have taken my element 1, 2, 3 all separately. So this is my element 1 and load applied here is same. This is P and this is also P. I have written here P1 but this is P. Okay. So if I see in element 1, I have drawn FBD, free body diagram for element 1. Now I am observing the forces. This is my P and this is my reacting force P applied here. This is my L1, this is A1 area and this is E1. So for delta deformation, like there will be some deformations, delta by 2, let's suppose equal deformation on all the side, delta by 2. So total deformation is delta, which will be given as P into L upon AE. So this is 1, this is 1, this is 1 and this is 1. Similarly, for element 2, we will draw free body diagram and this will be like this, and this is my P4, this is my P4 and this is L2 distance and this is A2 and this is E2. Okay, is that clear? Now we are writing delta 2 is equals to P into L2 upon A2 into E2. Okay, now similarly for element 3, I can write P into L3 upon A3 E3. Now I'll combine all the deformation delta 1 plus delta 2 plus delta 3. This will give me total deformation. Okay, so I'll write here delta is equals to, this is P upon A1 E1 upon L1 plus P upon A2 E2 upon L2 plus P upon A3 E3 L3. Now this A1 E1 upon L1 is my K1. Let's denote it K1. So my delta will be given as P upon K1 plus P upon K2 plus P upon K3, where K is axial stiffness. Okay, so we have find out here delta is equals to P upon 1 upon K1 plus 1 upon K2 plus 1 upon K3. Okay, so uh, the concept of series and parallel comes from here only, that we will see that which is connected as in series or in parallel step. Okay, now let's see our next what we are doing is deflection of composite bars under axial loops. Okay, now what I have done, I have provided two different material. This is my material 1 and this is my material 2. This is A1 E1. This is A2 E2. Length is same. Now this is sort of kind of indeterminate kind of thing. To determine this, we need a compatibility equation. Now we need to understand what is compatibility equation. Okay. So to understand this, let's go here and see that I have to use compatibility equation. Now my compatibility equation says compatibility equation I have to find out by seeing in the arrangement. So here I can see that my composite action means there is no relative motion between them. That means I am taking no friction. No friction, friction is neglected. Equal deformation or equal deflection. Like if you see here, the load is applied at this point P. Now whatever the deflection will happen, likewise, this is my delta, suppose this is delta L by 2 and same deformation will happen here. So this is my delta L by 2. Is it okay? Now I have delta L by 2 on both sides and I am having equal deflection, equal deformation for my material 1 and my material 2. Both the materials are getting stressed to same delta L by 2 here. I can apply the compatibility equation here as delta 1 is equal to delta 2 is equal to delta. My delta 1 is deflection for material 1. Delta 2 is deflection for material 2. Okay. And similarly, I am considering that P1 is the force taken by bar 1 and P2 is the force taken by bar 2. Let's understand this problem here for deflection of composite bar. So I have taken two materials A1 E1, A2 E2, A1 E1, A2 E2, and I have applied total load P here. This is my length L. Now assuming the load bear by first material is P1 and load material by second load bear by second material is P2. So I can say that P is equals to P1 plus P2. This is my equation 1. And I can say from compatibility equation that my delta deformation is equals to delta 1 is equals to delta 2. Now delta 1 I know that it will be P1 L upon A into E1, A1 upon E1, and my delta 2 is equals to P2 into L upon A2 E2. Now from compatibility equation I can equate these two values. P1 L upon A1 E1 is equals to P2 L upon A2 E2. L is constant, we have cut this. So now I can take out the ratio P1 and P2, that is coming to be A1 E1 upon A2 E2. Now this is my second equation. Now using 1 and 2, when you will solve these 1 and 2, you will get P1 is equals to P total force A1 E1 upon A1 E1 plus A2 E2, and P2 is equals to P into A2 E2 upon A1 E1 plus A2 E2. So my total deformation delta is equals to, I can write down this, delta is equals to P into L upon A1 E1 plus A2 So I have derived this delta here. Now my next target is deflection of circular bar. Looking at deflection of circular tapering bar. Is it okay? Okay, we are looking at deflection of circular bar. So let's derive for this circular bar. We want to calculate for this circular tapering section like this. My fourth deflection I want to calculate is that so here I have applied the load P, here I have applied the load P. This is my D2, मतलब diameter at second section, and this is my D1. Now I am assuming at a distance X, I have cut a section here, X and X, whose distance is dx, and this diameter is, let's suppose, dx. Okay, so area at section X pi by 4 into dx square. Now sigma x will be P upon ax, that is P upon pi by 4 into dx square. Now what is this dx? I want to calculate my dx which is at section xx. So let's suppose I am taking it as this is my D1 section. I'm seeing the projection. This is my D2. Okay. So this is D1, this is D2. So let's say this is for length L. This is D1. This distance is D2 minus D1. This is D1. Okay. Now at X section, I want to calculate this ordinate. Okay. To calculate this ordinate, I will be applying similar triangle in this triangle A, B, C. So I will be applying, and this length is X. This length is X. So I will be applying similar triangles. So with applying similar triangles, this distance will be equals to D2 minus D1 into X by L. ओके, तो इस पोजीशन पे एक्स एक्स सेक्शन पर फुल dx की वैल्यू कितनी हो जाएगी? दैट विल बी d1 प्लस d2 माइनस d1 into x by l. Now this dx is varying with x. You can verify it that we have derived it clearly, rightly or not. Let's suppose we are calculating the diameter at this point where x is equals to 0. So we'll put x is equals to 0. The diameter at one point will be equals to d1 plus 0. And let's suppose diameter, let's say this is A point and let's say this is B point. Okay, so diameter at B point will be equals to d1 plus d2 minus d1 into L upon L. So this will be equals to d2. That will coming out to be d2. So we have applied the similar triangle theory to calculate dx. Now we are going to substitute this dx in this equation. Okay, so my sigma x is equals to P upon pi by 4 into d1 plus d2 minus d1 upon L into x whole square. Now the variation of sigma x will be parabolic, as when you will substitute this a plus b whole square equation, this x will be square. So from here we can inference that my variation will be parabolic. So we can draw the stress diagram like this. This is my sigma 1 and this is sigma 2. Now there are two opportunities, or there are two ways in which we can draw this diagram. That one are, this is my parabolic variation. Okay, तो एक ग्राफ ऐसे भी बन सकता है और एक ग्राफ ऐसे भी बन सकता है। ओके, सो लास्ट सेमेस्टर जब अपन ने बेंडिंग मोमेंट एंड शियर फोर्स पढ़ा था बैच बी स्टूडेंट्स ने मुझसे, तो अपन ने सेम इस तरह का प्रॉब्लम देखा था उसमें व्हाइल ड्राइंग शियर फोर्स एंड बेंडिंग मोमेंट्स, है ना। सो मेनी ऑफ यू रिमेम्बर दैट हाउ वी एक्चुअली फाइंड आउट कि हमारा शेप ऑफ द कर्व कैसे बनेगा। ओके, फॉर दैट आई एम रिपीटिंग हाउ वी आर गोइंग टू फाइंड आउट कि वो शेप कैसे बनेगा। शेप फाइंड आउट करने के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा कि हमें एक एवरेज वैल्यू निकालनी पड़ेगी। यहाँ पर सपोज करो ये सेंटर है, दिस इज ए, दिस इज बी, दिस इज सी, so this is my average value. So this value will be equals to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 by 2. You just calculate your sigma 1 values and sigma 2 values and calculate at center point sigma 2. Now using this equation at x is equals to L by 2. Now use this equation at x is equals to L by 2. You can find out sigma c. Now you just compare whether you are falling above this line or below this line. If you are falling below this line, the curve will come like this, or if you are falling above this line, the curve will come like this. This is one way to determine the shape of this parabola, whether this will be concave upward or convex downward. Now we want to calculate deflection. Now our primary objective was to calculate deflection of this elemental length dx. This was our elemental length dx, this one. Okay, so we want to calculate the deflection at this point. So we will write that delta deflection will be equals to p into dx, that is our length dx, upon ax into e. The total deflection, for to calculate total deflection in the war, what we will do, we will integrate this. We will integrate this. So we are integrating from 0 to L, d delta is equals to integrating from 0 to L, p into dx upon ax into e. Now you know the p force, p is given to you already, and ax we have calculated from this equation, pi by 4 this equation, pi by 4 dx square, and dx you have to substitute this dx. When you will substitute all those things and you will integrate, your final deflection will come out to be 4pl upon pi into e into d1 into d2. So this is my final deflection. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, so right now we have come to the deflection of circular bar. In next class, we will see some residual stresses, concentration of stresses, and we will see in next class that what are our deflection of bar due to self weight. So under the topic deflection due to axial load, we are left out with deflection of bars due to self weight. So deflection of bars due to self weight we will be discussing in our next class. Okay, and deflection of conical bar we will be discussing in our next class, and residual stresses and concentration of stresses. These 3-4 topics we will be discussing